You know that feeling when a conversation starts shifting and you can sense it happening in real time. The air changes, the tone changes, and suddenly you are not talking anymore, you are defending, you are reacting. And before you know it, something that started as a simple discussion has turned into something that leaves both of you feeling worse than before it even began. That feeling, that pit in your stomach afterward, that replay in your head at 2 a.m, that is what we are going to fix today, not theoretically. Not with some rehearsed script that nobody actually talks like, but in a real practical human way that you can use starting from your very next conversation. Because here is the truth that most people never figure out. Tension in conversations is not the problem. How you respond to it is. And if nobody ever taught you how to respond to it, you have been fighting a battle with your hands tied behind your back this entire time. Now before we go further, there are related programs linked down below in the video description. And I am going to be honest with you. These programs are not for everyone. If you are completely satisfied with how your difficult conversations go, if you never feel misunderstood, if relationships in your life never feel strained because of communication breakdowns, then you can skip right past those links. They are really designed for the people who are serious about changing this specific area of their life and who want to go much deeper than what a single video can offer. But if part of you knows there is something here worth investing in, those resources are there and they will not be there indefinitely. Just something to keep in mind. Now let's get into this because I genuinely want you to walk away from this feeling different. Think about the last time a conversation went sideways. Maybe it was with someone you love, maybe it was someone at work. And the thing that stings the most is not even what was said. It is the feeling that followed, the feeling of not being heard, the feeling that you tried to explain yourself and somehow it made everything worse, or the feeling that you completely shut down and said nothing at all and then spent hours afterward thinking of everything you wish you had said. Both of those experiences, the over-explaining and the complete shutting down, they come from the same root place. Fear. Fear of conflict. Fear of being rejected or dismissed. Fear that speaking your truth will damage something you care about. And nobody talks about how exhausting that is. Carrying that into every hard conversation. Walking on eggshells. Choosing your words so carefully that by the time you actually say something, it has lost all of its authenticity anyway. Here is what the research actually shows. People who learn how to navigate tension in conversations experience less anxiety in their relationships, communicate more clearly under pressure, and resolve conflict in a fraction of the time compared to people who have never developed this skill. We are talking about hours of emotional suffering compressed down into minutes of genuine connection. That is not a small thing. That is life-changing in the most literal sense. So let's talk about what actually happens when tension enters a conversation. The moment someone says something that triggers you, your brain does something called an amygdala hijack. Your rational mind steps back and your survival instincts step forward. And from that point, you are not really communicating anymore. You are surviving. And the other person can feel that, which triggers their own amygdala. And now you have two people in survival mode trying to have a productive conversation. That is why it almost never works. That is why you walk away feeling worse instead of better. The first thing you have to understand is that you cannot think your way out of that state in the moment. You have to interrupt it physiologically before you can re-engage intellectually. Here is something almost nobody tells you. The most powerful thing you can do in the first 3 seconds of sensing tension is to slow your exhale. Not take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. A slow exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system and begins pulling you out of that reactive state almost immediately. People who understand this have a physical advantage in every difficult conversation they enter. They can stay present when everyone else is spiraling. Now, once you have that small window of calm, the next move is not to make your point. I know that feels counterintuitive. But the next move is to say something that lets the other person know they are actually being heard, not agreed with, heard. There is a massive difference and most people confuse them. You can hear someone completely and still disagree with everything they said. But when a person feels heard, their defensive walls come down just enough for real communication to begin. Something as simple as pausing and saying you can see this really matters to you creates a completely different dynamic than immediately countering what they said. One keeps the conversation open. One slams it shut. Think about how many arguments you have had in your life where you were both so focused on winning the point that you completely lost sight of the relationship. And afterward you got what you wanted, or at least you thought you did, but you paid a price you did not even fully realize you were paying. A little less trust, a little more distance, a little more guardedness the next time. That accumulates. Over months, over years, it accumulates into something that feels like an unbridgeable gap between you and people you actually care about deeply. People who master this skill, and it absolutely is a skill, They do not just win conversations. They build relationships that can actually withstand disagreement, that can actually grow through conflict instead of being damaged by it. And that is worth everything. Here is another shift that changes the game entirely. Most people enter a tense conversation with an agenda. They know what outcome they want, and they are working toward it, and the other person can feel that agenda even if they cannot name it. And that feeling is what keeps defenses up. The moment you shift from trying to win to trying to understand, the entire energy of a conversation changes. People feel it. They respond to it. Not always immediately, but they feel it. This is not about being passive. This is not about abandoning what you need to say. It is about the sequence. Understanding comes first. Then being understood becomes infinitely easier. Now let's talk about something that almost nobody gets right in the moment of real tension. Silence. Most people are terrified of silence in a conversation because they interpret it as failure or awkwardness. So they rush to fill it, and in doing so they often undo the progress they just made. A few seconds of genuine silence after saying something meaningful gives the other person space to actually absorb what was said. It is not weakness. It is one of the most powerful conversational tools that exists, and it costs nothing. The people who are naturally gifted at conversation, the ones you have probably met in your life who just seem to make every exchange feel easy and real, they are not doing something mysterious. They are doing these things. They are breathing. They are listening. They are leaving space. They are not trying to win. They are trying to connect. And because of that, they actually do connect. Consistently. With almost everyone. And here is the part that really matters. This is a skill that compounds. Every time you apply it, you get slightly better. Every slightly better conversation builds slightly more trust. And over time, you become someone who other people genuinely feel safe talking to. That changes your relationships. It changes your reputation. It changes how people treat you every single day. The cost of not learning this, in broken relationships, in career opportunities lost, in years of unnecessary emotional suffering, that cost is real and it is significant. Which is exactly why I want to point you back to the programs linked in the video description one final time, not as a soft suggestion, as a genuine nudge towards something that could fundamentally change how you show up in every conversation you have from this point forward. The people who wait until things get bad enough to take action often wait too long. The people who act when they feel that pull, that sense that something here is worth taking seriously, those are the ones who look back years from now and cannot imagine who they were before. Those resources are there for you right now. Do not talk yourself out of doing something that your future self will thank you for.